Well, good morning, David.
Well, good morning, Craig. Nice to see you on the porch.
Yeah. I love it. Of course, I guess bedroom talk wouldn't have been so cool. So we'll keep it. We'll keep it on the as porch talk.
Hey, there you go. There you go. Porch talk, porch talk. And wow, is there a lot to talk about, huh? Ooh, the Democratic National Convention. You
Wasn't
know,
that something?
amazing, amazing. Uh, what'd you think about it?
Straight up, man. I loved it. Um I was hooked, David. I I'm not, and I'll be curious, and I won't hog all of this. I'll try not to. I've never really been much of a convention guy. I mean, I've watched them in the past, a little bit here and there. But what I discovered with the Democratic convention, I was watching, I guess, the pre-convention that I found myself like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, like even 4 o'clock watching it. And then there was like a shift, or like around 6 o'clock our time, Pacific Standard Time, like the actual convention started. I thought, oh, I've been watching the pre-convention. Um, I thoroughly enjoyed it, man. How about you?
Likewise, in my lifetime, 71 years now, I've been around for a few conventions, and I've always in the past, watched a little bit of them here and there, maybe some keynote speakers, but they were basically, okay, cool, so what? I know who I was going to vote for based on their platforms and their policies ahead
Hmm.
of time, usually. But still, and I really wouldn't pay attention. But I have to admit, this time, oh my goodness, I was blown away with the energy, the excitement, and just for me, what seemed to be an overall air of honest hope, honest to goodness hope, hope based on truths, truths that people knew were real. And I was amazed, and I just saw the spirit of unity and the coalescing of energies from many different cultures and thoughts and religions and people coming together and going, yes, we can do this.
Hmm.
We have that ability. And the first time in my entire life, Craig, I ever got emotional watching a convention.
Yes.
I was brought to emotion, as was my
Yes.
wife. I saw her sitting there wiping tears, and my eyes are welling up, and I'm going, yes, we can do this. And I was brought to the point where I wanted to run outside and cheer. Thank you, Lord. Thank you. And I know a lot of people, they start thinking about God and government, and they don't mix. And you're right, they don't. They need to keep them out away from each other. But God needs to stay within all of us, no matter what. You
Hmm.
just can't have people pronouncing, oh, wait a minute, did I say God? I meant religion,
Yeah.
not God. God needs to be there. God needs to be with all of us every single day and in every single courthouse, every single government building, but not religion. Religion needs to stay out of there. There's no room for religion in our government, period. On a better note, do we have a candidate or do we have a candidate? Go Harris, baby. Go Harris. Go blue or go home crying because Harris and Waltz is the way to it. And don't get
Yeah.
me wrong, I'm not naive. Craig and I both know they're people. But oh my God,
Yeah.
there I go again. But oh my God.
Is there any one part, or what parts, um, that really stood out when you go and reflect, moments that really stand out in your mind?
I think for me, overall, the whole thing was a moment.
Hmm.
And I say that because there were so many good moments. It's like what makes up a drop of water? Something that provides one drop of water that provides nutrition, provides life. There's various molecules that by themselves they don't do that. But when they come together, boom, they coalesce and we have life. And I saw that throughout the entire thing. It kept happening, which is why I felt emotionally invested and attached to it. I know my parents would be. So for me, I felt that every single speaker spoke of unity, spoke of acceptance,
Yeah.
spoke of respect, love, and forgiveness. And
Hmm.
those are the things I think that are missing in the Republican Party. They miss that. They don't have any understanding of other people's minds. And in this country, the country made up of what do they call it? The melting pot.
Yeah.
What does that mean? That means that there's a whole lot of things going on in here, a lot of different
Hmm.
ingredients. Which brings me to something. We came across a poem. It's not real long, but it has a few verses. It seems to capture what we're talking about. Do you know the poem I'm talking about, Craig?
I do.
Uh, American Americans.
Yeah.
If you wouldn't mind, would you mind if I read it?
But by all means, it'd be very timely.
Great. I'm going to read this. I think you folks might find some common with this.
Right.
American Americans, multi ethnic stew composed of people, persons, human beings. Singularly, we knew that dreams and goals are why they came. Reasons for you and I to sit and ponder who we are and how to say their name. Indigenous foreigners sweating to make demands healthy, harmonic. Individuals who always say, I can, striving for peace and excellence. These are the Americans, people of a promised land. Mixed language, clear, sometimes vague, repetitious messages of enlightenment, a newfound age, a new ethnicity, composed like sand, many colored marbles held in one hand. America's American Americans, natives of a new land. American Americans, them, us, you and I, grown sometimes from foreign seed, from every land, ready to die for causes, mine or yours, is what we are. American Americans, from near, from far. American Americans, generations grown away from ancestral dirt upon foreign soil, given to the proposition that all people are created equal, and yet distinctly and individually different, despite all commonalities. The new peoples of the North, South, East, and West, a concentrated commingling, the world's best. We are Americans, born of many names. We have come, we have died, and we shall come again. We are America's Americans. A shout out to my good friend out there, Marvin Harrell, and everybody else who cares about America and all the diversity and beautiful cultures that it composed of.
Mm-hmm.
Let's celebrate ourselves. Let's give ourselves an opportunity to celebrate each other. And remember, let's vote blue. Craig, let's talk about voting blue for a minute. What does that mean to you?
That's a good question. For me, voting blue, it's voting truly for all people, David. And what I mean in trying to break that down and just coming off the DNC, that moments that stood out, and I'm going to answer your question or address your question this way, of moments that stood out was Gus Walls pointing to his father. That's my dad. And finding out that he has some challenges, okay, and seeing the diverse people there, and how this party represents this country on a really nice basis. And they depicted that. And how Kamala Harris's message was inclusive of everybody. Seeing Republicans speaking there for this country. So I view this is a party right now, reaching out across the board to everybody and trying to unify that. I'm hard pressed, and I am weighing my words to find fault with the message that I heard during that 4 days, um, and trying to be open-minded and not try as an independent and trying to remain independent with my thinking. But it was very reflective of, and also addressing your poem of everybody, David. What about yourself?
Well, I think you hit upon some very important points. The diversity situation, and and what the problem is. What is the problem? Is it America and being an American? What does that mean? Being an American, does it mean that you took the Pledge of Allegiance? That you know and had a test on the Constitution? Does it mean that you're here and you have capitalist ways and you want to make money? Does it mean that you're a part of a popular religion? Does it mean that you're a certain race or a certain color or a certain political party? What does being American mean? And I think that's the question that really most people get confused with, depending upon your geography, where you're at. Sometimes America means that if you don't look like me, you're not American. And in other parts of the country, it may mean, hey, wow, nobody looks like me. What a great America. Everybody looks different, like a salad. Like that poem said, multi-ethnic stew composed of people, persons, human beings. And I think one of the reasons why we have this problem is because we always want to identify different from somebody else. Different from somebody else. Take what we look at as beginning roots of prejudice, for example. They're white, they're black. I don't like you because you're black, and therefore you're not equal to me. Period. So I don't like all black people. Period. And we turned them into slaves. Period. And then that happened with other races as well. They moved across the United States, colonizing this country. Other people became subject to that same bias. You're not the same color as me. Well, we started getting over that. The country started growing, and we outlawed slavery, and we did a lot of other things. Did it come full acceptance and equal? No. And we're still struggling with that. What stops it? Well, this identification thing for me is one of the things. I'm not saying, that people shouldn't be proud of where they're from, their culture, their language, their food, everything about who they are, their grandparents, their great, 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 great grandparents, and all the struggles we've all had. Many people have lived and died so that we individually here now can be here. Keeping that in mind, owing that ancestral duty, ancestral rights, as this poem puts forth, I think it's important to recognize that when we consistently find differences to point out to others about ourselves or others to us, we build little walls. So I liked what this poem's message was. American Americans, not Mexican Americans, not Chinese Americans, not
Mm-hmm.
African Americans, not Korean Americans, Italian Americans, Irish Americans, and on and on and on and on and on. Just Americans. Just Americans.
Right.
We're all Americans. What do we have in common? What do all the marbles, the different colored marbles that are all in one bag have in common? They're all marbles. They're all in the same bag.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what the color is. It's still a marble. Some of us, marbles are a little harder. We need to break through that marble head. Break through that marble head. But I think for me, what I got out of the convention was inclusivity, was a strong feeling that everybody's an American, period, across the board. No matter who you are or where you're from, if you're here and you celebrate the cause and the right of freedom and the right for everybody to be able to express themselves,
Mm-hmm.
then you're an American. If you respect the right of your neighbor to have a different opinion and still be able to sit down with them and have a cup of coffee or a beer, then you're an American. If you can walk down the street and see a parade of Chinese people celebrating the Dragon Festival and all their exciting food, of Chinese food, then you're an American. If you like piñatas and breaking them, and watching the kids run around on the lawn picking up all the prizes and goodies, then you're an American. So I think that's the message I got.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't matter where you're from, who you are, if you believe in the right of freedom, right of choice, period. It comes down to that. The right to choose what you think, the right to express how you feel, the right to choose who you love and not love, the right to have a different opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. You're an American. But there's a fine line where sometimes we all cross it, and that line is acceptance and understanding. Accepting the other person's position is sometimes very, very difficult. As an artist, believe me, when I'm painting, it's like somebody comes in, well, why didn't you do it this way? I'm like, well, that's your painting. That's what you're doing. This is the one I'm doing.
That's right.
So, but this is different. This is a little different. This isn't us making a painting, or is it? Is it a group mural? We're all on the same wall. If so, respect the borders. Respect the other person's choice of colors. We're in it together, folks. We're in it
That's right.
together. I think that's why I get along with this guy so well. We both are on the same porch sometimes, and sometimes we're not.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
That's
As long,
okay.
hey, as long as this dog doesn't bite me, I'm good. Okay.
So long as my dog doesn't bite both of us, we're good.
Have you seen his dogs? He got some serious dogs.
I have some big ass dogs.
Yeah, he does. Right on. I appreciate that. I want to ask all you folks out there, what'd you think about the convention? about this whole thing. Now you can have an opinion either way. You can tell
Mhm.
Craig and I that we're crazy, and because we're not Republicans, we're bums. That's all right. I'll still invite you for a cup of coffee. I might feel a little sorry for you, so if I pat you on the back and try to console you, don't be offended. I love you, brother. Okay. I don't know. We can't get too serious, huh, Craig?
What's that?
We can't get too serious, right?
No, we can't, man. You can't take it too serious.
You have to remember something about Craig and I. We make movies.
That's right.
Okay. Thought I forgot, huh? Oh, no, 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 no. Hey, got to watch our movies. The Evil Down the Street, which is based on a true story about some evil thing going on with this crazy woman. Okay, she gets out of it though. The Crumbs, about family values. What would you do to protect your family?
Mhm.
Crumbs is a great example of family values. I think you'll like it. Demon Fighter, which seems to be reflective of the moment and the times. Okay. That's what we need going on right now. We just got one. We just got us a Demon Fighter. That's right. So I think you'll enjoy Demon Fighter. It's a good movie. Got some great action in it. Check it out. And last but not least, Love and Quarantine, which is about us and how we in our diverse communities truly feel at times when given the opportunity to be forced to live with each other 24/7. Love and Quarantine, a dramedy that makes us laugh and cry and sometimes cry and laugh. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like, oh, what are you going to do, right? We have some other things coming up in the future. Working on a new project now. Uh, we won't tell you what it's about until it's done because it isn't a project until it is done. And Craig and I have a rule about trying to put stuff out there and saying, "Look what I'm working on! Everybody get excited for me." That's bad.
Well, it ain't done till it's done.
Amen, man. It ain't a turkey until it's on my plate.
Hmm.
Yeah, I hear you. So let's see what else is new, Craig. What's cooking?
I think we touched on them all, sir.
We're done. Is that it?
I
This
think
porch is a
so.
limited porch this time. You know what the problem is? I'll tell you what the problem is. Craig and I both have never spent a week watching a convention. I'm like I got convention on my brain. It's hard for me not to think about it. I just keep thinking about it. Like I said, I've never been so moved in my life about a silly political convention. Now, don't get me wrong. I've been moved by some politicians to the point where I'm like, somebody get that jerk out of office, or what the hell's going on? Okay. But that's not the kind of movement I'm looking for. And then I've had the other movement where we're like, that's what's got to happen. That's a rumbly in the tumbly, though, and we won't talk about that. So I hope everybody uh, thinks very seriously about where we're at with this. This
Hmm.
isn't about blue and red, Republicans and Democrats. This is about 250 something
Yeah.
years of a constitutional society that has given to the proposition of equality. Line in that poem that we read, I liked that. Given to the proposition that all people are created equal and yet distinctly and individually different, despite all commonalities. That says it. And I think that's what the Harris campaign says, the recognition of difference
Yeah.
and the understanding of commonalities. Everybody wants to protect their family. See the Cubs, they're a good example. Everybody wants to keep bad away from their home. See, Demon Fighter, that's exactly what he does. But what happens? What happens? Huh? We all think of self, myself included, which is why I do what I do. I like art and I like to express myself that way. I'm thinking of self. I think of self and I'm trying to help my family. That makes me feel good. Self. That's okay. But self extends beyond just my person, extends to my family, extends to my broader family, my brothers and sisters, extends to my friends, extends to coworkers, extends to people I run into on the street.
Mm-hmm.
That's the concept of inclusiveness. And I love that about what this campaign stands for. And trust this, if it was the opposite, and I was hearing that person saying those things and showing those things, don't get me wrong. It's really interesting seeing this man continuously in a courtroom at a defendant's table. I've never in my life experienced that. What drama? It's going to make for great plays in the future. Are you kidding me? The amount of theater and stuff that is going to come out of all of this? Trump is great for cinema. I think about how this whole story plays out. Here he is. Okay. He's running for president. Guy's got all this notoriety, right? He's a movie star. He got all this going on. I mean, he can do whatever he wants. He can go up and grab somebody any way that he wants to grab them, do whatever he wants to do to them. And everybody loves it because he's a movie star and he gets away with that. That's right. Meanwhile, he's got all these wives going on, kids going on, affairs in between. Well, and then he decides to run for president. But oh, geez, wait a minute. I just had an affair with this. Oh, you should have seen it. Oh, that's something. I had an affair with this person. Pay her off. How much? $135,000. Ooh, doggy. Man, he could have went to Nevada and bought 100 of that. For that kind of cash. I don't know. How do I know? Come on, man. We've all been watching news. Everybody, we're not dumb. So, Trump. He scares everybody. He scares me, and I'm not easily scared. And I'm not saying that be out of jest. He scares me for my children. He scares me for my grandchildren. He scares me for my great-grandchildren, which I hope I will know. He scares me for the generations yet to come. His plan is a selfish, nationalistic, white nationalistic plan of supremacy geared towards the deprivation of rights, freedoms to the common man. Everybody that does not align themselves with him. He's bent on vendettas. He doesn't understand the term of forgiveness or acceptance. He cannot express love because he has no respect for anybody but himself. He is not a human being worthy of dignity and respect. And if everything goes good, we won't have to worry about him. So keep in mind, if you want to be true, you got to be blue. Don't make me sing, Craig. I'll turn off the channel.
Okay. Well, hit pause. I'm one click away. I can end this.
So they heard the first note. He had his finger on the button. I know that.
This is not Porch Talk the musical.
Touche. Well, anyway, that's all I really got to say about the whole matter. And I know Craig feels the same way I do.
Right. Well said.
Right on. Without further ado, I guess we say adieu.
That would be a wrap.
That's right. This will be a wrap. And we see you again on Porch Talk. Go out and vote. Vote blue.
Yeah.
That's it. The Harris Walls ticket. Got it.
Blue up and down, up and down.
Peace.
Bye all.